Are you a movie buff? Do you love dissecting and analyzing your favorite films? Look no further than the Projection Booth podcast. Join host Mike White and a bevy of guest experts as they explore the history, themes, and legacy of cult classics, obscure gems, and mainstream hits. Join us every week for a unique and engaging look at your favorite movies. So sit back, grab some popcorn, and tune in to the Projection Booth podcast, available on all major podcast platforms.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello, creeps. It's me, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper, and you're listening to Chronicles from the Crypt.
Hello there, I'm Casualty Chris.
And this is Father Malone.
And we are the hosts of Chronicles from the Crypt, a twice-a-month look at the horror anthology series Tales from the Crypt that aired from 1989 to 1996.
Now, on each of these podcasts, we do 2 episodes of the television series. And if you go back through the catalog, you'll see that between seasons, we used to do episodes about some tangentially related tales ephemera.
He says used to because this is the last season. We are on the final 7th season of Tales from the Crypt. It's a little bittersweet, Father Malone, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, because I keep waiting for it to get better.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. I say it's bittersweet because, I mean, I feel like I've been doing this podcast as long as the Culture Cast, and that is a reality. If you've been listening to this podcast recently in our kind of rebooted run, I had initially started this podcast in 2015, and then we got about. I forget, Father Malone, when did we reapproach this? Was it, because I remember I asked you if you wanted to help me finish.
Yeah, initially it was, I think, midway through season 5 you had gotten to, and I guessed it on one of those, and then we decided maybe we ought to just do it again from the beginning. This was at least 2 years ago. Maybe 3? 2?
We literally got to the end of that recording, and we were like, should we just redo this from the start? I think we both came to the realization at the same time separately, and then essentially said the same thing at the end. So it's pretty bittersweet. I mean, we have derided the show a fair amount, and I want to reinforce to the community, because I know that the community listens. I know that there's a very active Facebook group, and there are a lot of fans of the show. I do want to impress upon them, and on Father Malone, I think I can speak for both of us. We are fans of this show. We love this show.
Yeah, there wouldn't be a podcast detailing our grievances of the show, not from us.
Yeah, if we didn't like this show, we wouldn't be talking about it. So, I kind of want to clear the air a little bit on that, because it feels like sometimes we do pile on this show. And this season...
That's exactly right. That's exactly how I feel a lot, and I feel bad for doing it.
And this season has felt worse than the last couple so far.
I'll say on par.
Well, it's felt worse because this is the final season and this is it, and it's not changing its tune. It's one of those things where it's like you're trying to get someone to stop doing something, and then once they go off the cliff, it's like, well, can't do anything about that now, and it's feeling like the show is creeping closer towards its inevitable conclusion, and it's not changing its tune. It's just walking right off the cliff, completely oblivious that there's a cliff. And it's unfortunate. It really is.
But now with English accents.
Exactly. So let's talk about some English accents. We're going to be talking about on this episode of Chronicles from the Crypt, episode 3 and 4 of season 7, A Slight Case of Murder and Escape.
It looks like Neptune has just moved from Virgo to late Capricorn, which would mean you should avoid any serious romantic estranglements for a while. At least until the end of the month, when Mercury turns retrograde. Something about your horoscope isn't making sense. Let me see your hand. Yes, interesting. I'm not much at bleeding palms, but your future seems rather cloudy. Kind of like the woman in tonight's tale. She's been contemplating her scar sign, too. And a nasty nugget I call A Slight Case of Murder.
So A Slight Case of Murder aired May 3rd, 1996. It is directed by Brian Helgeland, written by Brian Helgeland. It stars Francesca Annis. That is not her name. Francesca... that is really not her name. It stars Francesca Annis, Christopher Casanova, and Elizabeth Spriggs. And it is about a true crime mystery novelist who gets a mysterious visitor in the middle of the night.
Sure.
Boy.
That's
Boy.
What a succinct synopsis.
I genuinely wonder what they were thinking with this episode.
I didn't think it was terrible. I just
It's not a terrible issue. It's just a why was this story so compelling you had to devote an episode of Tales from the Crypt when there's 13 episodes this season to this story. I mean, that's the bigger issue, right? It's not a quality question anymore. It's why are you devoting one episode when there aren't many left to this story?
Yeah, I think sometimes on the show we've noticed this in past seasons. A guest director, filmmaker, writer sort of steps in and they just let them go and do what they want. And in this case, Brian Helgeland wanted to tell us a tale, let's say, not very new. I actually, I tend to reread the comics for these episodes after we've watched them. And this Slight Case of Murder is based on Vault of Horror, number 33, written by Bill Gaines and Al Feldstein. And the artwork was by George Evans. But that's about all I can tell you because I could not find the original issue to read. So we're going to have to assume that Brian Helgeland went off on his own and did his own thing. That's all. I mean, I'm sure the comic couldn't have been much better, but
it's a story that, to your point, Brian Helgeland doing his own thing, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But why this story? And Brian Helgeland is not a bad writer by any stretch of the imagination.
No, not at all.
L.A. Confidential, Man on Fire, 42. That weird Tom Hardy movie where he plays two different people. That's actually way better than it has any right to be.
Legend.
Yeah, it's weird to me. The Order, a film that have you ever seen that film?
I have.
The Heath Ledger, Mark Addy film.
Yeah,
it's weird, right?
Yeah,
but it's not terrible.
Is Brian Helgeland English by any chance? I don't even know.
No,
he's not, right?
Providence, Lil Rhodey.
Yeah, it's weird that he works so much in England, but
I know.
Anglophiles. What are you gonna do?
And he also wrote A Knight's Tale.
Yeah, didn't he directed that too? Right.
He also directed it. Yeah, but I mean, yeah. I'm talking. I mean, again, his directing style is kind of non-existent in this episode. I'm talking more about like the story, kind of.
Yeah,
his ability to write is way better than this episode. Way better.
Yeah, I think every writer out there, particularly when they deal in as much crime as Brian Helgeland does, thinks they have a whodunit in them, and they want to spring it forth. And unfortunately, he did so here at Tales from the Crypt, because there's really nothing new in this story at all. And it also takes weird leaps where what was like a 2-character study with this interloper character who is clearly the antagonist of the tale. I mean, you don't have such a small cast and not have one of them be the actual sort of overarching fiend that's going to be revealed because we need the reveal. But like suddenly that woman's, what was her son? Like what was going on there? Where the I don't know. I mean, I guess she had been manipulating them the whole time. I get it.
Yeah, the character of Elizabeth Spriggs, who plays the nosy neighbor, is a budding crime writer herself, and so she orchestrates the entire situation of the main character's ex-husband coming back and thinking that she was cheating on him, and then she ropes her own son into it, and it's just fucking dumb. It's just dumb. It's dumb. It's lazy. And on top of it being dumb and lazy, like you said, it's a story we've seen before, and we'll see it again. Not in this show, but it's not like this is some novel new concept that no one has ever thought of before. It's very on the nose.
Yeah, and I think not maybe 5 or 6 years beforehand, there had been a remake of the film DOA where they changed the plot from the original film to a character murdering another in order to steal their novel and gain their fame. So, like that, it was not only a new thought when Helgeland did it. It wasn't a new thought a couple years beforehand. It's just
This film reminds me a lot of Secret Window. You stole my story.
Oh yeah, my goodness.
No, I'm just kidding. This does not remind me of that at all. Because somehow even that movie is better than this episode.
That's fair. That's fair.
Look, the idea that one character who you've been led to believe is a harmless character turning out to be the mastermind of this entire situation it's a fun concept, don't get me wrong, but
yeah, it needs to be more skillfully achieved than what we're given here, which there might be a time constraint maybe, or I don't know. I'm not going to make excuses for the episode. It is what it is. It honestly not the worst that we've gotten. As you said, it's more a failure of our expectations that this series is going to go out with a hurrah instead of a, hey, here's more of what we've been giving you.
And that's really so much of what it feels like. It is content to go out on such a disappointing note. And these episodes that we've been seeing have been pushing it in that direction. It feels almost, and this is a more contemporary example, it feels a lot like Game of Thrones. The show is just rushing to the end. It doesn't even care about quality. It just wants to be done.
Yeah. Who knows? Look, I'm not privy to the behind-the-scenes machinations over at the Tales from the Crypt office in the mid-'90s, but, it feels like this is a lot of out-of-trunk material. Like, they had been writing, and then scripts got rejected, and it's like, well, we're doing one more season. Let's pull out everything that we didn't get to do. But there was a reason they didn't get to do those.
Yeah, the reason is they're not good. So, I applaud them for wanting to do another season of the show. I completely get it. This show has made an impact on so many people's careers, and it really has made an impact on the horror community at large, but there's a reason this season is not fondly remembered, and it's because if they were going to move to the UK to work on the show, you would have thought they would do something different with it, and yet they just continue to go down the path that they were going down in season 6. And it's like, well, if you're going to spend all that time and effort to move to a foreign country...
Yeah, continuing the trend of good enough, it seems like they thought, well, it's going to be, completely alien in that, different land, different actors, different takes on things, but it feels like that they've done no rewriting at all. It's like this is what season 7 was going to be, but now it's in England, and we'll throw in a few sort of English phrases, but that change in locale will be enough, and it wasn't enough. They needed an entire, not a revamp necessarily. I don't think the actual formula for Tales from the Crypt needs fixing, but just a shot of adrenaline in some way, and it doesn't feel that. It feels like we're just hooked up to life support.
And the life support is slowly not working as much as it used to.
Yeah, the beeps on the heart monitor are getting pretty few and far between.
Yeah. So speaking of the beeps getting few and far between, let's talk about the next episode, Escape.
Did you hear me, maggot? I said fall in. I swear you must be the sorriest bunch of sad sacks I ever did see. You're a disgrace to the uniform, all of you, and you call yourself a scare force? What's your problem, soldier? You some kind of mummy's boy? That it? I guess you think you're like the man in tonight's tale. He's not much of a soldier either. It's a nasty little shriek and destroy mission I call Escape.
So the episode aired May 17th, 1996. It is directed by Peter McDonald, written by, it says Ale Katz and Gilbert Adler. I guess we haven't seen Ale Katz and Gilbert Adler writing a lot of screenplays. And this episode has Martin Kemp and Nicholas Grace in it. And it's a episode about a Nazi prisoner of war who turns on his own men who are trying to escape. And then he gets recaptured, and he attempts to do the same thing. It's a lot like Yellow. It is a lot like Yellow.
Having said that, pretty enjoyable. Not a whiff of the supernatural, more of the bitter irony from EC. I think it was well made. Passed the time, didn't feel insulted at all. I did once we got to the big reveal at the end. Just feel like, well, you guys did do this episode, and it was a little more grand and had Lance Henriksen in it.
Yeah, that to me, I think is the real issue, is that it is, as much as I'm not a huge fan of Yellow. I mean, it's not that I don't like Yellow, but Yellow is just, in my opinion, Yellow is okay. It's not the amazing episode I think Zemeckis thought it was going to be.
No, it's overlong by half.
Oh yeah, but the issue is this episode. You know where it's going. You know what the twist is. You know what the twist is long before they even do the twist. And in Yellow, the actors are so good that some of the issues with the episode, I kind of overlook them. In this episode, it's a lot harder to overlook those issues because the quality of actors on screen is not the same.
No, and which isn't to say that they're not doing their job. I think Martin Kemp is pretty good. I think for me, the problem is more that it's all well and good to make the audience accept a character who's sort of unseemly and let you go with them. But here, what we have is a Nazi and the most cowardly of them, the one who sells out all of his friends and sells out anyone he can just to save his own hide. So, like, they're asking a lot from us to kind of begin with, so that when the final twist comes, it's not unwelcome.
Yeah, in Yellow, the main character is somewhat sympathetic. In this, he's not. He's a fucking Nazi. He's a fucking Nazi.
Yeah, man. Like, in Yellow, we have the son of the head of the U.S. forces who has been forced into military life and it has from the get-go said, I don't want to do any of this and I'm a coward and that's the way it is, and gets a comeuppance that isn't necessarily deserved. But here, this is a Nazi who will sell out Nazis and Americans no matter what. He's just a despicable guy. Now, I will point out that this is not based on Tales from the Crypt. Shocking. It's Vault of Horror number 16, written and the artwork was done by Al Feldstein. In the original, it's a mob boss in a New York prison, and it's like a heavy labor camp in that they're constantly unloading and toting these bricks. And the mob boss is sick of this and he wants to get out of there, so he's going to break out, and he arranges to have the prison job of the prison morgue, knowing that eventually someone's going to die and he's going to sneak himself into the coffin, and he's set up with his cohorts that when that happens that they have to come and dig him up, not realizing that the bricks that he's been toting for the first part of the issue are for a new crematorium that they've built. So he gets into the coffin and ends up being burned alive. Better, as far as I'm concerned.
Way better.
Way better.
An actually interesting story with a interesting payoff.
Yeah, and really sort of trafficking in Tales from the Crypty kind of avenues where he's going to be buried alive and you think that that's going to be it, and then he's going to get double-crossed or something, and then nope, they just put that box right into a their newly minted furnace. Could have been horrific instead of ironic, which is the war is already over. You could have been free.
I wish that worked. I wish that payoff felt earned, right?
It didn't, because, they've set it up so that character, the sort of brigadier general character, has been an asshole from the beginning. Like, as the way the episode is played, he's the villain of the piece.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's exacting revenge on our lead, and as much as I can't get behind the lead's motivations, like you're just kind of left unsatisfied.
Well, you don't know who to root for, because you're not going to root for the Nazi, but you're also, like you said, it's hard to get behind a character who is kind of such a piece of garbage in his own right.
And you know what's funny? Like, they had this plant character pretending to be a Nazi prisoner of war who's sympathetic to our lead, convincing him that he needs to forge ahead with his plan of escape. And it ends up being an English soldier. What's funny about that is, like, he affects a German accent to, like, convince this guy, but, like, at no time did Martin Kemp just speak German to him. Like, could the guy speak German? That's something we never really got into, but, like, these are little details that always sort of stick in my craw.
Well, if he had spoken German to him, the jig would have been up, so...
Exactly, but that's an issue. Deal with that issue.
Oh, I completely agree. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just being a smart ass, It's, it should have been something that they confronted outright, but of course they didn't, which means when the twist comes, you know what the twist is going to be.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that guy's the most sympathetic character in it, right? He's just doing his job.
I guess so. But we're also not given enough from him as a character to really know anything about him.
Yeah, it's weird when they do these episodes that are character pieces and you only have one or two main characters and we don't know anything more about them at the end than we did when we started.
Yeah, and then you get to the end of the episode and you wonder to yourself, okay, who was I supposed to be invested in? Who was I supposed to be rooting for here? Do I care that the main character gets shot in a coffin? Like, do I even care? No, he's a Nazi, so I don't even care.
Yeah, it's a matter of, well, I just watched some events occurring, and and there it was, and like, yeah, it's well made. It's look, ultimately, I think this is the episode that would have been made of Yellow had Robert Zemeckis not said, I'm going to do a full-blown 1 hour long episode as a pilot for another series. It would have been this small scale, but I do feel like had they adhered more toward the source material, it would have been a better payoff.
Well, they had the coffin.
Even if he was a Nazi, like, yeah, I mean, burning alive is pretty nightmarish.
Well, I think the other thing that they could have done if they wanted to still do this story but kind of do a little bit of course correction would be make the character a allied POW and watch him turn on his own people because he knows he's saving his own skin. Then he is a character who deserves the punishment, and you could have been invested in him even slightly.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because something about the Nazi uniform is just off-putting from the get-go.
Yeah, no one in their right mind, especially in current day and age, is going to go out of their way to root for the Nazis.
Yeah, man. And yeah, I mean, look, Tales from the Crypt it's no stranger to unsympathetic leads. We get them all the time, and your mileage may vary on whether or not they deserve what they get at the end. But in this case, I'm like, yeah, okay, good. Shoot him.
Yeah. I mean, I have
why didn't you just do that to begin with?
Not a sympathetic bone in my body regarding Martin Kemp's character. He's dead. Good riddance. He gets what he deserves, right? I mean, he gets what he deserves.
Yeah, but, they could have done that in the first 5 minutes. They could have done that while they were escaping and just said, oops, we thought he was running.
Well, and that's the thing. You pick up this episode right at the beginning with Martin Kemp, and he is running with the rest of his soldiers escaping from the first prison. And with the way that the episode starts, it's kind of just jarring. You're like, wait, okay, what's going on? And then you don't really get to see him betray his compatriots. I mean, you see the act, but you don't see the buildup to his betrayal.
You don't see any camaraderie between them, which is what would have... I don't know. I mean, maybe that was a smart move because already we're dealing with the stumbling block of fascism. So the less we see of him actually betraying people he knows and likes and like him, the better.
Well, and the other funny thing is, similarly to the episode with the monkey's paw, it has an opening that while it does play into the final story of the episode, it also takes away time from the final story of the episode.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a James Bond movie. We don't need to see the last bit of his previous mission.
Right. This cold open shit is getting old.
It is, yeah, and particularly given how economical they need to be with the amount of time given, it does seem like a weird left turn to be taking for no good reason other than confusion. And, you know, we don't know anything about any of the characters or situations coming in anyway. We don't need further muddying of the waters.
Well, and also given the fact that in a TV show like Tales from the Crypt, a TV show that is a anthology, weekly anthology television series, you have wraparounds already. You can't do a cold open. That is not how this format works.
Right.
That is completely against the logic of what a quote anthology TV series is. The cold open is the fucking Crypt Keeper.
Right. And I've noticed that Kevin Yeager is back directing the segments, which is welcome. I think the Crypt Keeper looks as good as he's ever looked this season. I think he may have come back for last season as well, but there was a season there that was maybe 5 where either Gil Katz or Al Katz or Gilbert Adler were directing the Crypt Keeper sequences, and it felt stiff. And here it's as lively as it has ever been.
Well, and the other thing is, you know, it's a nice change from the Crypt Keeper puppet we saw in Ritual.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm glad we watched that movie in between seasons so I can really appreciate like the dynamic job that the puppeteers are doing here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, while these wraparound segments don't really make a lot of sense, they seem to be going more and more nonsensical as we have gotten farther with that, that idea with the show where every episode has a opening segment, and those opening segments sometimes tie in, sometimes they don't. They seem to be tying in less and less.
Yeah, I mean, it's a far cry from And All Through the House, where he trudges in a Santa suit and then tells us about Christmas and what's to come. This just seems to be a bunch of non sequiturs. And by the way, I have a new tale for you.
Yeah, I think is it one of these episodes where he goes to space? Is that one of these?
Yeah. Where the countdown rocket ship. We don't even get a sci-fi episode after.
Yeah, like I just it's so weird to me because it just doesn't work at all with the rest of the episode, and it doesn't have to, right? But in the past, it had been kind of setting the tone, and I would personally argue it's important to set the tone and the theme for the episode with these wraparounds?
100%. I mean, that's always been the failing of any anthology, right? That, you get invested in a set of characters and a plot line, and then it's gone, and now we have to re-up. So it was always nice when the Crypt Keeper was easing us into the tale instead of just throwing it at us.
And this is not what the show is doing anymore. It's just seemingly doing whatever it wants. And it seems less about whatever it wants and more about what looks cool. Like, what could we do now? We'll put the Crypt Keeper in an Uncle Sam outfit, or we'll put him in a spaceship. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like leftover gags, right? Like, they had wanted to do
or
one.
Gags for episodes that don't exist.
Yeah.
It's like that John Carpenter album that came out a couple years ago. Theme songs for movies that don't exist, essentially. That's what these are. Wraparounds for episodes that never happened.
Yeah, you could literally put anything after what comes at the beginning. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, other than the fact that they explain what happens in the episode, it has nothing to do with the episode, and it's bizarre. It's just bizarre. And it just doesn't work. For me, again, it's getting to the point now where I'm watching these Crypt Keeper segments, and this is going to sound sacrilegious. I'm watching it, and I'm just like, I don't really care anymore. Like, it's hard to care when this has nothing to do with anything.
It certainly has gotten to the point of, okay, just get to the episode. Just start.
And what's really sad is the episodes are, since, I would say about halfway through season 5, the episodes are starting to and have been really disappointing and feel lazy and just good enough. And that didn't really bleed into the wraparounds, but all of a sudden it has been.
It's systemic.
It is. It is
the malaise
baked into this show at a cellular level, I guess, is that at one point they were just going to throw their hands up and say, well, Nothing else. This is it. We're just going to do weird wraparounds with the Crypt Keeper being weird.
And have I mentioned that you should skip the previous episode? Do not watch the murderous tale. And I'm going to slight case of murder. And I don't know. I'm soft watch maybe on Escape. Given what has previously come, I'm going to compare episodes and judge it that way.
I would say skip and watch Yellow instead.
Yeah, okay. Well, if we're doing that, yeah, go watch Yellow. You'll at least get some...
It's not like you can't watch Yellow.
Right. And you'll at least get some grandeur out of that one.
And, you know, look, I don't remember this season very well. Frankly, I don't remember it at all. I think this is the season I may not have ever watched. Like I've said before, I remember the final episode of this season. But, man... season's bumming me out, man.
Yeah, I had high hopes coming in. I haven't seen any of these episodes. I did see the final one because that was pretty well advertised, I think, at the time. But I think I tuned in one time to Tales from the Crypt and saw that there were English people and it felt entirely different to me. And then I turned it off. That was years and years ago. So I went in to this particular season with higher hopes than maybe were warranted.
And higher hopes than it maybe deserved.
Oh, definitely. Definitely that.
Well, all I knows is on the next episode of Chronicles from the Crypt, we're going to be talking about 2 more episodes from Season 7, Episode 5 and 6, Horror in the Night, and Cold War. And guess who's in Cold War? Ewan McGregor.
Yes. And Jane Horrocks from Absolutely Fabulous.
And Colin Salmon as well, I believe.
Oh, yeah, from Resident Evil. Should be great, right? Based on the cast?
Sure. But we know it won't be, unfortunately. I mean, I have high hopes, but I know they're going to be dashed just based on the fact that I guess everybody gave up all of a sudden. So
this is an abusive relationship.
That's what it feels like.
We just keep coming back for more.
So until then, Father Malone, where can people find you?
You can check me out over at fathermalone.com. I have a podcast called Dark Destinations. It's a travel log to towns that never existed. You can check out my YouTube channel, Ot5 Films, and you can hear me over on Dreams for Sale, the Twilight Zone 85 podcast that Chris and I do with our man in Detroit, Mike White.
He's our man on the streets. He's on the ground in Detroit.
He's out there doing the good work.
As for me, you can find me on Twitter at Christmas Claus. I changed my name on Twitter because as much as I like my name when it comes to talking about Tales from the Crypt, it's probably not the best optics-wise to have your name be in the middle of a pandemic, Casualty Chris. So I have changed my name to something a lot more holly jolly, and it's Christmas Claus without the T. So you can find me on Twitter at Christmas Claus. You can find the podcast on the internet at Chronicles FTC, and also on the internet at chroniclesfromthecrypt.com. We are on Twitter at Chronicles FTC. Big thanks as always to John Kassir for the intro for the Chronicles from the Crypt podcast, and we'll catch you on the next episode.